Well, the difficulty in creating a spending blueprint for the state government was on full display at the Capitol this week. Facing a stalemate on finding new revenue to fill a billion-dollar-plus budget hole, Republican legislative leaders and the governor tried to push through a bill to break the logjam. The effort underscored just how hard it has become to make a deal that a majority of lawmakers can agree upon.
After weeks of negotiations, rumors of a deal on a revenue bill began surfacing at the Capitol on Tuesday. That's when Governor Mary Fallin, flanked by legislative leaders and the heads of the House and Senate Appropriations and Budget Committees, entered the Capitol's Blue Room to outline a measure that they claimed would fill at least part of the state's massive budget hole.
We have to get a budget done. We have to give our state some certainty that we will be able to fund core services in our state, fund education, fund public safety, transportation, corrections, health and human services, without devastating our state agencies.
The Republican leader's proposed solution was House Bill 2414, which would increase cigarette taxes by $1.50 a pack and hike taxes on gasoline and diesel fuel by 6 cents a gallon. It would also have cut the time during which oil and gas production is taxed at 2% from 36 to 18 months, with the tax rising to 7% after that, a provision which offered no money for the next fiscal year. The agreement came despite the fact that one day earlier, House Speaker Charles McCall said that a motor fuels tax proposed by the Senate was a non-starter in the House.
The Senate already knows that a fuel tax is a poison pill to any bill. By introducing that, it guarantees failure.
Fallin called the measure a compromise which she hoped both Republicans and Democrats could support.
We took some of their ideas, some of our ideas, some things I don't like, some things they don't like. We put it all together. But somebody's got to start somewhere with recurring revenue, not just fixing one-time holes and moving this money around.
And McCall insisted everyone had given up something to reach the deal.
The majority party, the Republicans in the House of Representatives, we are compromising on GPT, and we are compromising on the cigarette tax. We are giving those to the Democrats as they've requested in exchange for the fuel tax.
But House Minority Leader Scott Inman said this was not a compromise that would get Democrats on board.
What you saw today was $400 million worth of tax increases on the backs of middle-class families and an oil and gas gimmick that brings in $0 from the oil and gas industry. None of those ideas, zero of those ideas, were in our Restoring Oklahoma plan as a standalone measure.
While Democrats have held firm that raising the gross production tax from 2 to 5% was necessary to get their votes, McCall insisted that was not an option.
Let there be no illusions that any change in GPT this year is going to put any money into this year's budget. Any change that we make is prospective. It goes forward. You cannot adjust rates retroactively and it be constitutional.
It is not unconstitutional to change the current tax rate for any well or any person for that matter from 2% to 5% next year. To say that it is unconstitutional is patently wrong.
Inman also believes the measure would run afoul of the state constitution's single subject rule.
To turn around and say that we can lump in a cigarette tax, a gas tax, and oil and gas credits all into one bill, which have multiple subjects, that is unconstitutional. We believe not only will it not pass muster, but if they pass it in that form, which it won't because our caucus won't support it, but if it were to go into law and the Supreme Court strike it down, it would blow a $400 million hole in the budget.
McCall admitted there was no plan B if the measure should fail, and said a vote in the House to reject it would mean deeper cuts to state agencies.